My name is Courtney. This is my husband, Jeremy. And we have two wonderful sons, Aiden and Nolan. So not long ago, we were expecting our second child. And as we were on our way to the hospital, everything progressing normally as far as we knew. We got to the hospital and labor progressed. And within a few hours, our son was born. However, he was born not breathing. And so for the first 5 minutes or so, I'm looking around the hospital room. Everybody's rushing around and no one's telling me anything. And I just want to know, why isn't he crying? Why can't I hear him? And so it was about 5 minutes or so, I heard him cry for the first time. And I got to hold him for about 30 seconds. And then they rushed him to the NICU. And we weren't really sure what was going to happen.
So made sure Courtney got stabilized. It was kind of a rough moment. And then I went to go see him. And when I walked into the room, I saw him in an incubator, in a temperature-controlled incubator with an IV in his head, monitors on his chest, on his feet, and tubes in his mouth to feed him, and not doing well. And so some things were wrong. He had fluid in his lungs when he was born. And so that's why he wasn't breathing on his own. And so they had the IV in for him to get the vitamins and things he needed. But then he was also breathing too fast, 90 times a minute. And so it was hard to watch him. His little chest was struggling. He was struggling. And so that night, late, praying, and I ran out of words, honestly. And I thought of this song that I had heard that Pastor Dustin had recorded, and he had showed me the pre-production. So I didn't have this super fancy song or anything, and it was called "Come Rushing In." And I remember the words to the song said, "Let the Spirit of the Lord come rushing in." And as I sat in the room and I was out of words, I thought, I'll play this song. And so I grabbed my phone and I opened the little door to the incubator, and I put the phone next to him. And I remember playing that song over and over next to Nolan, saying, "Let the Spirit of the Lord come rushing in." And I remember thinking, I don't want the presence of God to come wafting in or to come tiptoeing into this hospital. I want the Spirit of the Lord to come rushing in and to push out everything in that room that wasn't life, And we were struggling with some death that was in the room, some disease, some things that was not good, that was not of God. And so we needed everything of God to come rushing in. So we played that song and played that song and prayed and played and prayed and played. And sure enough, days went by, but tests that he wasn't passing, he started to pass.
Yep.
And vitals that weren't there started to be there. Monitors started coming off every day. And he started eating more, was able to nurse. Courtney was able to hold him. And we watched the Spirit of the Lord come into that room and really save our son. And it was an amazing thing to watch. And so then when we heard the album and we heard this song, of course, this song is not just a song to us. This is an experience. This is a season of our life where that song really brought hope and brought life to our son, not just our situation. And so I am believing powerfully and almost prophetically that the people who sing this song, that spiritually, if their lungs aren't working, they would start working. That spiritually, callings and anointings that are broken, and maybe death has moved in on some lives, just like it happened for my son, when they sing that song, I'm believing for life to come back to the dead. And not just because I believe God can do it, but because we watch God do it. So we're believing for when that song plays in churches and all over, no matter what room, for us it was a hospital room, whether it's in a car, whether it's a living room, or whether it's in a sanctuary, we pray that whenever that song is sung, we would see life come back to the dead, that lungs would start to breathe and the callings and anointings would come alive. And that God wouldn't just waft into the room, that He wouldn't just tiptoe into a church, but the Spirit of God would rush into the place where it's sung. And that's what we're believing.
Rushing in, rushing in. rushing in, let the Spirit of the Lord come rushing